Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today we're tackling chapter 10. I was looking at the calendar and I'm so excited. You guys are just a month away from being high school students. Actually, less than a month away. So that's pretty exciting. We're going to finish up chapter 10 and then we are done. Can you believe it? So, 10.1. Key questions. What is a power? How do you write a product using exponents? And how do you evaluate an expression involving a power? So let's get to it. We have quite a bit of vocabulary to cover. First one is a product. This is just an answer to multiplication. Repeat. If you repeat something, you do it again and again and again. If you repeat a number, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, that's repeating. A power. Okay, it's going to look confusing in words, but we're going to look at an example which will make more sense. It is the product of repeated numbers or variables. So we're going to be multiplying. Multiplying, multiplying, multiplying. The same number or the same variable over and over and over again. And here are the parts of a power. We have a base, which is the number or variable that gets repeated. And then we have an exponent, and that tells us how many times that base gets repeated or multiplied. How many times? That's what the exponent is. And let's look at an example. This is an example of a power. This whole thing represents a power. You have two parts to it. You have the base and the exponent. That's what makes up a power. Go ahead and pause the video here if you need to write any of this down. I'm going to move on with some examples. Lots of examples. So evaluating an expression. So again, this whole thing is a power. So let's go ahead and take a look. We have a base of 4. I'm going to write that in. Base is 4. 3 is the exponent. 3 tells us how many times we are going to multiply 4. We've got 3 4s. See how there's 3 here? 4 times 4 times 4. That is 64. So we evaluated it. Evaluate basically means solve for it. If you can. Sometimes you can't really do much. So let's evaluate the expression 1/2 to the 4th power. This whole thing is a power. 1/2 is our base. 4 is the exponent. 4 tells us that means there are 4 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting multiplied together. And reminder with fractions. Fractions, we've got 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. That is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. With fractions, you multiply the tops and then multiply the bottoms. I'm going to move this over so we can do it. So, evaluate negative 1/2 to the 4th. Now, this gets a little tricky because this negative is not part of the base. This negative does not have parentheses. So let's take a look at what this means. This means do the opposite. Take the opposite. So instead of being positive, our answer is going to be negative 1/2 to the 4th. So negative times 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2. So whatever this is, so this part would have been positive 1/16. Now you multiply it by negative 1. So this is negative 1/16. And let's take a look at the next one. So look at the difference between this one and this one. This one has parentheses, so this is telling me that negative 1/2 is going 4 times. This one said positive 1/2 is going 4 times. There is a difference. The parentheses make a difference. So with parentheses, this number inside tells us negative 1/2, negative 1/2, negative 1/2, negative 1/2. So when you do that, it gets positive 1/16. With the parentheses, without the parentheses. Now let's look at some variables. Evaluate 2x to the 4th. You notice there are parentheses again. So with parentheses, this whole thing is getting multiplied 4 times. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I broke it up. I like to see the numbers and the variables separate. You can do that because multiplication allows you to move things around. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that is 16. X times x times x times x is x to the 4th. That's all you would do there. Now I've got a few problems for you to do, so go ahead and tackle those. And let's move on. Writing the product using exponents. We are basically working backwards. We did the hard stuff already. This part, basically you're just counting. How many x's do you see here? 1, 2, 3. So, surprise, surprise. This is x to the 3rd. Pretty simple. Just take the exponents. Write the product using exponents here. You see we've got some variables and some numbers. Since there are parentheses, that means negative 2 is my base. How many negative 2's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, negative 2 to the 4th. How many b's do we have? 1, 2, 3. So it's b to the 3rd. Okay, the last one is for you. Write the product using the exponents. We've got negative 3 times negative 3, x, 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 x. When you're done with that, go ahead and log into Big Ideas Online and do assignment 10.1. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon.